All right, we're now joined by musician, composer, and the former lead singer of the rock band Acidic. Please welcome to the show, Michael Gossard. How are you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Just living, my man. Just getting by. I think like we all are right about now. I think the first thing I wanted to run by you was when did you guys officially start this band back in the day?
We started. First of all, thanks for having me on. We started
Absolutely.
in about 2008, and we started like anybody in a garage, or not in a garage actually. We were in a little practice space, but essentially a garage band, And we started playing shows and doing the deal,
Right on. So, where'd you guys all meet? Are you guys all from SoCal? You guys move out here, or what's kind of your origin story?
Yeah, well, like any band, there were a bunch of members over the years, but I think the heart of the band was always myself and the drummer. And we met when we were both in high school. We both went to different local high schools and met up and started jamming out. I think the funny thing was I wasn't driving yet, so I think my mom put up flyers at his high school, and
that's the best. That's
gotta love
mom.
Whatever it takes.
So you guys grew up in LA, or are you guys from elsewhere?
We're all pretty much from LA. Yeah. One of
Nice.
our most recent guitar player was from Lancaster, but it's like LA area, so yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right on. So when you guys were forming this together, growing up, obviously I can imagine music was a big part of your life and something that inspired you and that you wanted to pursue as a career or just at least as a passion. Who kind of do you think? I know it's tough because we all love music and this is always like one of the toughest questions ever, I feel like. But if you could narrow it down to a few of your top bands or excuse me, like inspirations that led to this, who would that be?
Well, when I was a teenager, I was a really big fan of Green Day, and I grew up listening to the Beatles. So those two.
Okay. Awesome. Right on. Okay.
Classic.
Well, I'm more of a Stones guy myself, but gotta love the Beatles. I mean, you can't complain with the Beatles.
Michael, thanks for being here. It's good talking to you. I'm curious about where your favorite place was to perform when you guys went on tour.
Well, in the United States, my favorite city, oddly enough, was Spokane, Washington. They had this...
Interesting.
They had this radio series with the local radio station, which was 94.5 or whatever up there, would essentially buy out the whole theater, and it was like a big theater. It was like House of Blues size, was called the Knitting Factory. And so you could fit, 1,000, 1,500 people in there, and they'd buy out the whole venue and give up free tickets, so it'd be sold out. And they'd hire bands that they had on their radio rotation to come up and play. And a few times we either knew the promoter or we were on the radio rotation, so we got to go play. And those shows were incredible. And it was totally worth the drive. And then later my family kind of all moved up to the Pacific Northwest anyway, so it was a good chance to catch up with my sister and, have a great night.
Very cool. Very cool. I wanted to ask,
Michael.
too, do you think... Oh, go ahead, Garland.
Okay. Michael, what was your favorite part about touring and then something that you didn't expect?
My favorite part about touring, are you talking like internationally or in the United States?
We'll go both.
Okay, in the United States, the country's really beautiful, and there's a lot of different, like depending on where you are, it feels like you're on a different planet. So I really liked that. I also liked when we would have a day off in a city, I would go and disappear into the city for a while. And my favorite place in the U.S. to stop on a day off was always New York. We we would stay with this lady who owned a bar in New Jersey, and it was right next to New York. So I'd hop on the 190 or whatever it was and head into Times Square and just like hang around. And a couple of times we would show up like 3 months. We showed up 3 months apart, like one time, and so I got a haircut at the same place in New York City twice, and twice in a row, and that was cool. But that has nothing to do with anything. I don't know. But internationally, what I really love is First of all, the food's always amazing, no
Gotta be
matter
the
where you
women.
go. Well, I'm
Gotta be
I'm
the
not.
chicks.
No comment. I have a wonderful
No.
partner, so she's awesome. But
I see. I like your style.
yeah, no. I was never that kind of guy anyway. I was always more. You can talk to the other guys if you want to about that. I was always more of the guy who like I wanted to just go back to my hotel room and like hang out, or like go like eat and try the food, or like go see stuff. My favorite thing about like touring in Europe is the cities are really old. And so we were in like Eastern Europe, and then we did Asia and East Asia, and then some Oceania. So it's really different, and a lot of it's really old. So you go and there's like these old castles, and like it's just really beautiful.
So that being said, where's your favorite place in Europe?
Latvia, Old Town Latvia,
Wow.
and Riga.
Okay.
Old Town Riga, Latvia. Yeah, it's you wouldn't expect it, but
No.
yeah, the Baltic states are really beautiful.
I never would have thought.
I know, me neither.
So it says here that you switched major when you were in college. You switched majors from music composition to commercial and media writing. Why did you do that?
So commercial media writing at my university is film scoring. So I'm still doing a music composition degree. In my particular music department, there's music comp. They call it like comp. So it's like music composition proper. And then there's commercial media writing, which is media scoring. So for example, my homework assignments are here's a clip, here's a minute, here's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, score it. It's due in a week. And those are my assignments. I think the bigger question is like probably like why did I choose to go back to college for me? I think about that often, and I realized that I really loved music, and for me, touring became a lifestyle I just couldn't do anymore. Mm-hmm. It's a really romantic thing to think in your mind, like, oh, well, you're on the road, and I've been in 49 of the 50 states, I've been in 12-something different countries and all over the world, and on the shore of the Black Sea at midnight in Azerbaijan, flying next day to Latvia or Georgia, wherever. That's cool, but what was going on the whole time is like relationships suffer, and it's like it's hard to. Why would you have an apartment if you're gone all the time? So I wanted to have a life. So I realized that music is the only thing I want to do, though, and music and film caught me. I don't know, like if you've ever tried listening or watching a movie with no sound, especially like an action movie or a horror movie. It's a joke, like even if the acting's wonderful, it's just something's off, right? The music aids in telling that story in such a quintessential and critical way. And I realized that I wanted to become a storyteller. So that's why I chose to go and learn music composition and commercial and media writing, so I could help tell the story that the director wants to tell.
It's almost like ballet in that way, where it's like such an integral part of telling the story. You look at, all these, I know ballet is huge in the Baltic states especially. I mean, that's a huge part of it. But then also, like a movie like Quentin Tarantino's movies, this just most recent one, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, has got some phenomenal actors. But what makes Tarantino's movies so great, and I think you hit it right on target when you said that it aids in telling the story. I mean, he's notorious for having some of the best soundtracks in his films, like maybe ever. They're such an integral part of enhancing the film. So that's just
I agree, and they work so well together. It's like if you just have the music, it doesn't make sense, and if you just have the acting, it doesn't have the same impact.
Right,
and
so going back to yeah, absolutely. So going back to the music for a second, as a frontman and lead singer, I want to know. I've found that there are two types of performers, especially considering. I guess independent of a band, like there's different responsibilities for every single member in a band, and as a frontman, part of that would be, I guess this next question, which is I've found that there are two types of performers. There's the egocentric performer, in which it's about me and almost using the audience and the reaction as a drug, like their drug of choice to feel empowered. And then there's the other type of performer that wants to evoke an emotion from the audience. And I'm curious, which type of performer were you, or was it a combination of both? And which one do you find is most effective?
Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know if it's either purely one or the other. I can only speak from my experience, but like when I was on stage, the thing I really wanted to do was get the audience going, but it wasn't purely because I wanted to see the reaction. I mean, there's a sense of adrenaline on stages, especially in front of larger crowds, especially when you start to get up in front of 1,000, 2,000 plus people. The reaction, it is kind of like a drug, and there's nothing like it, and it's really enjoyable. So I think it's like kind of almost a parasitic relationship, because you want to get the audience excited because you want them to have a great time, but also I know that if they're having a great time, they're going to be going crazy, and there's something about seeing a large group of people screaming at you that, like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it really is amazing.
Right on, man. I think the last question I would ask you, at least, is your favorite, going on with that theme of performing. Can you remember your favorite performance that you gave, regardless of where it was, and why it was so great in your mind and so memorable? I know that's a tough question, because I'm sure there's numerous performances, but if there's one that stands out, I'd just be curious to get your 2 cents on that.
Yeah, there's a lot. The two that are popping out are, again, that Spokane, Washington thing. They were called Too Broke to Rock. Those were incredible. There's nothing like those. But also, I loved when we would play our hometown, especially like later on when we were selling out shows. We would sell at the Troubadour or the Viper Room or whatever, and you get on stage and it's all your friends and everybody you know and love, and everybody's there, and everybody's going crazy and having a great time. So probably LA and probably the Troubadour.
Right on, man. Well, you know what? Thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate it. We got to have you back on sometime soon to do another interview or do a performance or something, or maybe even a sing off with me, because I have a feeling I might have your number there, Laddie.
You probably do. You probably do. Thank you for having me on. And I got to thank Wyndham, because he's awesome.
He's the man. No, we love Wyndham. We love Wyndham. There he is. He's giving us the thumbs up right there. Right on, my man. Well, take it easy. I hope you've been staying safe. Give your best to your family, and we hope to see you again soon.
Back at you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Cheers,
Michael.
thank you, Michael.
Have a good one, man.